Hey, welcome back. Well, first episode of Movie Club with Friends. It's we'll call it the first episode. There was a little problem with the first one.
Mike didn't know how to record on the first one. Was the problem?
Yeah.
Problem.
So this is Movie Club with Friends. It's going to be a weekly show. We watch a movie. We're going to talk about it. We're each taking turns picking a movie. They can explain why they picked the movie. So this week was The Illusionist, 2006 movie starring Edward Norton and can't think of other guy's name.
Jessica Biel.
Paul Giamatti.
There you go. Thank you. So let's start off with Jared. Why'd you pick this movie?
Well, let's see. The Prestige is my favorite movie, and this movie came out roughly the same time. I'd never watched it the whole way through, so I wanted to go ahead and see what it's about.
Yeah. So, do you want to start off with the rating system that we have posted in the description, or?
Let's see.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. Well, we got this 10-point rating scale, and for me, I'd say this movie was a solid 7. I enjoyed most of it. I had some issues with it, though. So, I guess it was a very enjoyable movie. The acting was great. I really like Edward Norton. I like the character, his illusions that he was doing, but I did have some problems. Some of the stuff he did seemed too fantastical, I guess, and without really explaining how he was doing it. And also, this is my biggest issue with the movie. So yes, the the crown prince was kind of an asshole and a murderer and planning treason against his father, yes.
Yeah.
But because of that, because he was an asshole, not even the treason thing, they basically drugged him and drove him to suicide.
I said
really
the same
felt like
thing.
a really overreaction, and I couldn't really side with them.
Yeah.
It felt too much.
But in the name of love.
Everybody.
To counter that a little bit, he would have tracked her down and killed her.
Okay, yes, I agree. But what if they did to fake her death part? After that, he thought she was dead. All Edward Norton had to do was leave the city, which he wasn't welcome in anyway, and they've been together forever. He wasn't going to track them down.
That's actually a good point, actually. I didn't think of that.
It's not like they really drove him to sue. Like, it's not like they were like, you.
They planted evidence against him. They turned the police commissioner against him. With the planting of the things, the drugging him, they kind of did drive him that way. Maybe they didn't put the gun in his hand.
But Jared.
They didn't estimate the suicide, but they just wanted to get back at him for being such a dick, I guess.
They wanted him
But he was only kind of a dick. He wasn't actually killing him.
He was
Edward
going to
Norton
commit
was
treason.
Edward Norton was more of a dick to the prince than the prince was to him. And he's like,
no, the prince told him he couldn't ever practice his magic in Vienna again because of the fucking sword thing.
The prince was terrible, you guys.
The prince was
he
terrible.
embarrassed the prince in front of all of his friends.
I just think there's a difference.
You can't do that to royalty.
Exactly.
I don't really care about royalty. Yes, he was a massive dick. Maybe some revenge was necessary, but I feel like they went above and beyond what was logical and rational to do.
I completely agree.
I mean, I still like the movie. I still like the characters, but I just felt like a massive overreaction, considering he hadn't really harmed either of the main characters.
Okay.
So my only counter argument to that, and I guess I can talk about this on my turn, but just since we're talking about it right now, is that I feel like they didn't necessarily show how evil he was, but they talked a lot about how evil he was. You bring up the fact not only is he trying to overtake the kingdom, but they bring up him getting together with other other countries. They brought up that he was abusive to other women in the past, trying to essentially like, you know, run Edward Norton's character out of town, was essentially like, I think that shows that he's done that before. Like he was so quick, you know, like to go to that. It's just, I feel like you're right. Like they didn't show him being like insanely amount of a dick in that movie. But I feel like they definitely talked about it enough to make it assume that he's a terrible person.
Yeah, they went into it, but they didn't like show it.
And I agree 100%. I just think that driving him to suicide was a little bit much. Then I'll just leave it on that. Next person.
Well, that was kind of his choice.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like
That's
maybe.
what suicide is usually.
Okay.
Well, I know, but like he could have been in prison.
Okay.
But Edward Norton assisted somewhat in his suicide.
Yeah.
Opinion.
Sure.
I feel like this is like we're getting into like an actual like deep rooted argument. Like, oh, is it like the bullies to blame, or is it?
Yeah.
Is it like I'm just like it's a little touchy. Anyway, next person.
Okay. I'll go. I'm gonna give this movie a 5. I'm gonna say it was okay, and I'm in between liking it and disliking it. So I didn't like
Michael, you gotta choose between disliked and...
No, but it's so weird because there's part of it that I did like, and there's parts that I didn't like. I didn't like the intro. I thought like their love story was really just bland and rushed and stereotypical. Also, there's a lot of weird like editing or like cuts. When it did like. They did a lot of, like, those circle in, like, Looney Tunes fades that I was just like, is this movie, like, was this an indie film? Like, this was a movie that came out in theaters, and they're doing shit like this. I don't know. It was just really weird. The scene where you think she gets murdered by the drunk prince, and it was just, like, showing the guy, like, looking out the window. First watching it, I was like, why aren't we watching the murder? And then I was like, oh, because... I don't know, they're going to do something with it. So I guess, yeah, it was a good scene. I don't know, it was just weird. But the main thing for me was the entire movie, I'm watching it, and I'm like, yeah, this is just a movie about love, about some guy doing something for his girl. Then she dies. And I was like, why the fuck is he a magician in this movie? Like, this really doesn't play anything into it. And then it, like, blew my mind when the police guy was figuring out what he did. It hit me too, and I was like, oh, he's an illusionist. Everything was an illusion. Like,
wow, the title of the movie.
That's why he's an illusionist. So, like, yeah, it was good. I was tricked, I guess, but I just don't think it was that well done. The movie overall.
What would you have changed, Mike?
I would just make the love seem a little more real and not just bland movie love.
I feel like you're right that they did rush it, and it was only like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's a fairly short film.
Yeah, so they could have, I guess, put a little bit more time into it, but
yeah, it just seemed really like tropey, if I could use that word. So that's really what I had to say. I don't think there's really that much deeper to look into this movie. Maybe if I had more time to think about it, I could think of theming or whatever, but nah.
Mm-hmm. I will talk about it because this was actually The Illusionist was actually my favorite movie when it came out. Like I remember like watching it in 2006 when I was in high school, and I loved the crap out of this movie. Like if you would have asked me like even like I don't know, a year ago, I'd been like, oh yeah, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. 10 for 10, love this movie.
Yeah.
And then I saw The Prestige, and it is Prestige is definitely like my favorite like magician movie now. But I can't forget how much I loved The Illusionist growing up. I would like watch this movie so much. It was like a comforting movie to me. Now as an adult, like watching back, so just to let you guys know, like this is an independent film. Like this was not made by like a huge production company.
Yeah.
So
sorry, just when I was starting it and I was seeing like the production companies in the intro and the title and stuff, I was like, am I watching the right movie? Because I never heard of those companies before. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it is definitely an independent film, which I feel like if you realize that, you like appreciate the movie a little bit more, because there are like very campy, like tropey, I don't know, like everything that you can describe like any typical independent film. I feel like sections in this movie. I love the Illusionist. I love the overall, like even still right now, I think, like the end scene of Paul Giamatti's character figuring out everything is one of like the best. I think that one of the things that like I want to point out is like Paul Giamatti is so good. Like he is my favorite thing about this movie. At the end of the day, like I think that I think they try to show Edward Norton and Jessica Biel's characters as being the main character, but it's really not. It's really Paul Giamatti that's the main character, because they start him off. I don't know if you remember, but like the beginning scene of Paul Giamatti, and I've seen this movie like way too much, so that's one reason why I like remember everything. When you first meet Paul Giamatti, like he's like walking up, they like paint him as like a bad guy, like like an evil person. Like he's walking and there's like all like he's walking down the hallway and there's all these like like deer heads and like whatever, and then he's like corrupt like police officer, detective, whatever, and then you just like see him like progress into like this this really really interesting character and person, and like where he's like respecting Eisenheim, like Edward Norton's character, and he's like trying to figure it out. I do think that like now reviewing it again as an adult, I do think that the overall like bad guy Leopold or whatever his name is, I think he's a wonderful actor, but I do think that he could have been written better, for sure. And I think overall, like the two quote-unquote main characters probably could have been written better too. But I think Paul Giamatti is amazing, and he's the reason why like anyone should watch this film, is just to see Paul Giamatti be an amazing Paul Giamatti. And I do want to like admit, like one of my favorite scenes or quotes that he says in the movie is whenever he's telling Eisenheim that he doesn't want to arrest him because he doesn't know if his manifestations are real and it's if he's a special person, like an act of God, or if he's just doing a trick. Either way, it's really impressive. And he doesn't think that he should put him in jail because he's such an impressive person. I don't know. The movie is about Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti did amazing. I loved it. I do think it's cheesy. I think now as an adult, I probably give it a 7. But if I was just to rate it just on Paul Giamatti alone, I'd give it like a 10. So because he was amazing in it. So that's it.
Yeah,
I agree with your point of view, Julie, that the movie is from the inspector's point of view. Is it okay if I go next?
Yeah,
go for it.
So after the movie was over, I wanted to do some research, and I found this theory on Reddit that Illusionist and Sophie are actually ghosts. Now I know this sounds like a stretch, but trust me, this guy explains it pretty well. It makes sense because, okay, so the movie is from the point of view of the inspector, right? And this inspector is like, he's a rational guy, so you're seeing the movie through a rational lens, right? But the entire movie is trying to tell you that the Illusionist and Sophie are both ghosts because all the shit he does, all the illusions, whatever. Like in the defining part was when he tried to arrest him, but then he spirits away. That was him for the first time showing that he actually is a ghost, and he went from physical to the spirit form or whatever. And that's what I think.
So these are like what, vengeful spirits out to take down the prince?
Yeah, it doesn't explain because like the prince.
like why the fuck would it be ghosts?
Explain the end scene. This is like the worst like theory ever.
That's okay. That's one thing though is. So his magic was, I guess, like the orange tree kind of gets explained, but everything else wasn't really like street magic as we know it. It's like actual like magic.
Yeah, no, that's like, that's honest. I forgot to mention that. That's like my biggest problem with the movie.
For me. But yeah, someone else go.
Oh, is Jeff done?
Oh wait, is Jeff done? Jeff, you have to rate it.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
6 disliked.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'll go next. And I mean, I guess I'd give it a 6. And I guess I'd say I disliked it. But it was weird because the magic was what I was most focused on, and just yeah, a lot of the magic was too fantastical, and just supernatural.
Yeah.
And I really couldn't get into that because
one of his spirits like exits the show and is like walking around the street.
Yeah, and then there's that little boy that comes up, and the guy reaches his hand down and passes through it.
Yeah.
And it's like, how I don't get that, because whenever they go and like raid his place and they get the Chinese people to show them how they do it with the mirror and the movie projector, like it doesn't make any sense still because of that little boy with the guy's hand passing through the boy. And yeah,
they couldn't do that now.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, I mean, now they could probably do it with holograms, Mike. You've seen holograms of Tupac, right?
They're like they're on stages, right? They're not like walking up and down aisles. Like there'd have to be a pretty elaborate setup.
Yeah, I don't know about the technology now, but yeah, I just didn't like it because the magic seemed too far out, and because like the opening scene, whenever they're explaining where Eisenheim came from with the old man,
the worst.
And then the old man disappears, and then it's like, oh,
and it's like the worst effects ever.
Yeah, and it's just like,
no, and that
kind of made it bad for me
that's
right off the start.
That was a little charming to me, I thought.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
But that's what I liked about the Prestige more about this movie was the Prestige. It like explains it, and it isn't like godlike powers. It's actually like a science.
Yeah,
right?
And like if I just want to bring up Penn and Teller, because Penn and Teller in a lot of their shows, like the reason Penn and Teller aren't in the Magic Circle is because the Magic Circle said, you guys explain magic. Like you basically give out secrets in your show. So that's why we're not going to accept you to the Magic Circle. And that's what I love about Penn and Teller. They're like, they expose
they're the bad
how it's done
of magic.
Yeah, they are. And it's great.
So do you expect like all magicians to be like Penn and Teller? I guess like I don't.
Oh no, I don't expect
like
all magicians to be like that. It's just that's why I enjoy Penn and Teller so much, because they just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And like even showing you the magic, showing you how it's done, it's still so impressive. And they can still trick you, even showing you all the secrets.
Like I don't know, the orange tree and then the butter.
I mean,
like
they
the butterflies
showed the explanation for the orange tree though, and they showed the explanation for the lock. I mean, like it's not like
I'm not saying I'm counting noise. I'm counting like the phantasms that would come and appear.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to say like they didn't explain anything at all in that whole movie. Like he did explain stuff.
Let's have who's left? Gabe, Tanner, and Johnny.
One of you.
Boys?
All right, I'll talk about it. So, I would say that I was leaning towards, so going through the whole movie, it was probably going to be like, seriously, a 4 or 5, because it was really slow. The biggest killing factor for me was the magic being, otherworldly, whatever you want to call it. And to a lot of degrees, they didn't explain a lot of it. Like even the orange tree, like the shots they showed us still didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because where did it come from? The bottom of the table? They still didn't really show a lot of what happened with the bucket. So it was just how it was shot and how some of those things. I don't know. I was a little bit spoiled because I did watch The Prestige before this, and I will take a moment to say everybody should go watch The Prestige if they get a chance.
Yeah,
it's on Hulu. Go for it.
Hulu sponsors.
But because of the ending and how satisfying, like I'm a pretty good, like I'm a sucker for the magic endings on a lot of these things. Because I enjoy the ending so much, I'll probably give it a 7.
Yeah.
Or like a 6.5 maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of in the same boat. I would have given it like a 3, but the ending was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I really liked the ending. I loved the whole time. I liked Paul Giamatti's character, because he was having to be, rational. You know, he's having to do pragmatic, I guess you could say. He had to do what he thought was right, but then he also had a part of him that wanted to do right on the magician and all this kind of stuff. So I thought he did a really good job, and plus I just like that actor. I'll agree that the love story was a little bit not as in depth.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of really linear, I guess you could say. Which is kind of disappointing, but they had to throw it in there. Like they get back together and they immediately have sex, and they're like, oh my god, let's run away again together.
Oh my god, when they hooked up, I was like, this is so forced.
Yeah, it was really forced. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm trying to think what else I had to say about it. To the point that the bad guy was, they shouldn't have killed him. My defense to them would be they didn't think that he would take his life. They were just
trying to get him arrested or whatever.
Yeah, they're just trying to get him arrested. And Paul Giamatti was doing the same thing. But they didn't realize the guy was such a bitch that he had to kill himself.
But it does make me mad because it's like, I want to be with this girl, and faking her death isn't enough. You know, fake her death, they leave, like Jared said. No, like, let's ruin this guy's life, because he's kind of a dick.
But they also knew about his plot to overthrow his
I
guess just do nothing about that.
But the inspector was also had a little bit of, like, he wasn't fully crooked, right? He wanted to do the right thing at the end of the movie, so
I like
like if they were going to do it, I feel like the inspector was going to give him up. I don't remember if he knew, but
about the inspector, Paul Giamatti definitely knew that he wanted.
Yeah, so that's
why I'm saying, like, if you look at it from Paul Giamatti's character, Michael, I feel like it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
I did like the conflict that he had about, he his dad was a butcher, so he wanted to be something more than just a common worker. So this was his end, to be with this asshole. But then he meets this really nice guy, Edward Norton, and whose side does he take? That was really done well. Sure.
So, yeah. End of review, 7 out of 10, and I will probably say I'll go with liked.
That's fair.
Because of the ending.
Yeah. The ending was the best part.
Yeah, you gotta. If you don't have a good ending for a magic movie, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. So, Tanner.
I guess I kind of enjoyed it. It's probably like 6 or 5 for me. I'll go with just in the middle, 5.5. I liked it. It was entertaining enough. It wasn't like super.
It wasn't unwatchable.
Yeah, it wasn't like I couldn't like sit down and like enjoy myself. I mean, some movies are like that. Like some movies aren't meant to be like super deep or super like twist and turn kind of thing. So I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Did they show the prince killing Sophie, or is it just assumed?
So there's that one scene. Well, so he didn't ever kill Sophie, obviously.
Well, I know.
But they no, they didn't. They essentially showed that they drugged him, and because he was drunk, or whatever, and then they just I guess made him pass out, and
they spiked his drink at some point.
Yeah, they go to a scene, or they backtrack to a scene where he's essentially sleeping in the horse stall. So in his mind, and he has a bloody sword, and so in his mind, he thinks he for sure killed her. I don't think he actually.
I was gonna bring that up. I was like, wouldn't he know? Because I kind of forgot.
Yeah, they roofie him essentially, and then
yeah. I mean, he might have been a loose end, quote unquote. They're trying to tie out too, just in case he ever was I didn't kill her, it was the drugs and I was just gone. So I need to. So they were like, well, maybe we should make sure that he doesn't come back after us. Plus, you probably won't want him ruling your country if he does go through with it.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe the killing of him, or at least the arresting of him and not just running away, was more.
Yeah, but didn't they also say that or she said at one point that she was basically required for his coup against his father. If she's gone, then he can't do it anyway.
Yeah, he didn't get rule over like Hungary or whatever.
Yeah, because her
So that plan was never going to work. So again, I mean, I'm not saying, they should have screwed him over just because he's a dick and he's a tyrant or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I guess it was
felt,
just, right?
It felt above and beyond to me what was necessary.
But it could have also been just like they're just showing like we want to make sure everyone knows that he's trying to do treason, like maybe that too. But yeah, I'm kind of with everyone else with the magic tricks too. Like they were just kind of over the top.
It's
almost.
It's not magic tricks. It's like literal, actual magic. So
I mean, I'm gonna say magic tricks because that's what they described it as.
Yeah.
Like that's how they're described.
Yeah, it's all the end scene.
Sure, we can't hear, babe.
Also, the end scene of the movie is like Paul Giamatti like realizing the whole thing, which obviously shows that it wasn't like all magic.
Yeah,
but obviously, like the dead kid
Oh,
thing.
they're ghosts.
Yeah, the ghost thing. Everything he did on stage was crazy. I wish they kind of explained or slowed it down when he was explaining it or figuring it out. I think it just went by too fast because it's like it's showing her like dripping blood on the sword and stuff, and I was like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, they did it pretty quick.
So let's have Johnny.
Johnny.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Before your guys' all of your guys' kind of speeches, I was thinking of either 5 or 6, but I think you guys kind of enlightened me on some parts and made me appreciate it a little bit more. So I'm gonna give it a 7, and I like. But it's not something that I would try to watch again, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna rewatch it anytime soon.
No, I mean it's 2006, and the effects is a big thing that draws me towards movies anymore, and so this kind of disappointed me with all of their special effects, especially that goddamn tree.
Yeah, it was
so bad. It was so bad.
The tree was like a funny beginning to a movie, is how I always kind of saw it.
The movie isn't funny though.
It's not. I mean, it's like an interesting way to start a movie. I don't know. As an indie company, it was like to catch you off guard, starting at the beginning. Oh my god, the fucking tree just. I don't know. I kind of liked it. I guess I'm the only one.
Oh. Okay. Well, anyway, all of that aside, the thing that really had me hung up was the fact that why did the prince feel so threatened against this magician, like for overtaking his empire, like, you know, foiling his plans or anything? What the fuck did he do? Honestly,
that's a good point.
Like he kind of was just like a dick to him, but I think maybe it was like he kind of just realized that this guy was
better than him,
just more intelligent than him.
Yeah, because the prince was always trying to predict Eisenheimer's tricks.
Super easy,
and whenever he couldn't, I feel like he felt like threatened almost by him.
And like all his buddies were making jokes and he was getting embarrassed. So,
but even before that, man, like his first encounter with him. Oh wow, he stole his girlfriend's soul or something like that. Or no, the prince, not true. But yeah, that was kind of frustrating for me to like see why there was so much tension too, like so early on at least.
It was just, I think just overall the movie was kind of rushed.
Okay. Did you guys notice the fact that at the towards the beginning of the movie, everything was pretty like sepia, like that yellowish orange color, like there was just that tint over everything.
That was in the backflash or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, everything was kind of
flashbacks, whatever.
Backflash.
Words are hard for my
flashback.
As the movie progressed, it slowly, disappeared, and you kind of like it. From what Julie was saying, like the inspector's perspective is what it was. He was kind of left in the dark, trying to understand everything. Towards the end of the movie, everything kind of cleared up for him, and so did that, tint of the whole movie.
Oh my God,
It
Johnny, I
ended-
did not notice that. That is amazing.
It ended in a filter too, though.
Damn, John.
I guess. Yeah.
It wasn't yellow, but it was like cloudy, right? Kinda.
Mm.
Because they didn't know where they were. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like
He had a moment of clarity, but then he's like,
lovey-
I don't know where they are, though.
It was like lovey-dovey
Congratulations.
paradise. Oh, it's so magical over by their little fucking horse farm or where the hell they were.
Yeah. Let's see. Something else. Say.
Maybe that's meant to be like a hope for him. Like he hopes that's what they're like.
That's just him imagining them there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't,
if it's cloudy, like it could be, you know,
I
like
don't-
hoping for a better life like that.
bringing up flashbacks or whatever the fuck you want to call them.
I want to call them
Backflashes?
backflashes.
Backflashes, yeah.
I like that.
I'm not a big fan of them. I really think you can just explain who your characters are just through dialogue and just for current stuff that is really important to the movie. I don't think we needed to know why teenaged Edward Norton and Sophie fell in love. You could have just shown that through dialogue and through their re-meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, but then they just show the
Young
whole thing with the
Julie
locket and
loved-
everything like that, too.
Yeah, young Julie loved the shit out of that flashback.
Just because you don't appreciate young love?
No, and it's not even that. It's all movies. I'm saying in general, it's all movies. You don't need to have those scenes.
Okay, so Princess
would you-
Bride. Princess
What would
Bride.
you do? Wait, sorry.
Sorry. Princess Bride, you don't think you need to have you seen Princess Bride?
Not in like
Okay.
I saw it.
Well, fuck.
I don't remember.
Well, someone needs to pick that movie then.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that there are
Julie's gonna
movies.
pick it.
There are movies that don't have flashbacks, and they get along with it just fine.
Yeah, but I'm not. But I just think, okay, you're making
A very
Yeah.
generalist
a
statement.
very general statement. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to give an example why it's like there are some movies that do it really, really well.
I'm just saying personally, I'm not a fan of them.
I would just
Okay.
like.
But like you can't generalize about all movies and how some movies that have flashbacks are bad and some
I'm
movies
saying
that
you
don't
can get
have
you can
flashbacks
get
are
along
good.
without them. You don't
I
have to
get
do
that,
it.
but
If
what
you
would
write
you,
the
what would you do
dialogue,
different to explain the young love between the two? Just say like, and they were in love when they were 14.
no,
Like, how
when
else
they
would you
see
explain
each
that
other,
except for
when he realizes it's her, and then they can talk about it. They don't have to have a fraction of the movie.
They won't have the same effect as the visuals. Of
Nah,
yeah.
you can get around it.
I don't agree.
I don't think so, but
I personally, so it's
Everyone has
I-
their own opinions. It's all right.
Yeah, obviously. But I actually really like flashbacks, though. Like, I really like them. So I always like seeing people and they're like young and like kids and stuff, or like I don't know.
Yeah, but you're
before.
a girl and you like girls.
I think it's interesting too, just to see how close of an actor they can get to look like the adult actor.
Yeah.
Did he look like young Edward Norton?
No.
Like, how about flash forwards, like in Saving Private Ryan? That transition scene, come on!
Dude, I haven't seen that movie since high
never
school,
seen that
man.
That was good.
hey, babe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I've never seen Saving Private Ryan because more
What?
movies are intense for me.
I thought everyone's seen that movie, but
Dude, that's
I haven't seen it.
unpatriotic.
maybe we'll put it on the list. So does anyone have anything else to say or add or?
I wasn't actually done.
Okay, good.
Oh, I'm sorry, Johnny. I'm so sorry.
No, there was just one more point that I remembered during that conversation. But the fact that they do use that kind of spiritual or like more magical approach to it, and it's not just science, I think kind of leads you on to question whether or not like everything is real or fake. Yeah. I enjoyed that part because it kind of left me wanting to do a bit more.
Yeah,
Oh my
fuck you,
God.
Johnny.
Wow.
I
You have a
agree with you,
different
Johnny.
opinion.
I actually do too.
Yeah, I agree with you, Johnny. Fuck the Magaz is really what it is.
You gotta explain your fucking tricks.
Yeah, no, you
I
don't
just-
have to do that ever.
Why is Prestige the best movie? Because they explain the goddamn amazing plot.
That's it. That's the
That
only
is
reason.
Not why. We're not
That's one of the
discussing
good
the
reasons.
Prestige,
Oh,
but
no.
that's not why
yes, we
like
are.
everyone thinks that it's the best. Like not everyone thinks it's that for that reason.
But the Prestige had definitely a bigger income. Maybe that had something to do with it, right?
Budget.
The girl in this movie was really hot.
So
that's good BL.
Very.
Yeah. I don't know why
she's married to Justin Timberlake.
Whoa.
Yep.
They have a baby together.
Yeah, I remember a couple times when she smiled, I was like.
Also, isn't the Prestige like a higher production? So
yes,
makes sense.
Yeah.
I think in general, it's a better movie in my opinion.
Well, what was
the main characters in that movie are also dicks, but they were dicks for a good reason, and it was part of the plot of the movie.
Well, what does Julie
Everyone
think?
should type out your scores so we have it written down.
Yeah. What you said it was your favorite movie, Julie, but you saw The Prestige, right?
Yeah. Prestige is like my favorite magic movie now.
So what's a better movie?
What do you mean better movie?
What do you like more? The Illusionist or the Prestige?
I like the Prestige more than the Illusionist, but I still love the Prestige a lot. I think I'd probably give it a 7 now, but I really like it. So I'm having a hard time choosing between 7 and 8. So, but I'm just gonna put 7.
Okay.
10. Shit.
And loved. That's a dude in the middle.
Okay, so we'll do before we say goodbye, we'll do a brief. Next week is Julie's pick. Julie, what are you picking? And a brief little why.
So next week, I want us to all watch Braveheart. I know that it's a really well-known movie. Lots of people have seen it. I have not seen it since I was a child, maybe 6 years old. I hate this movie from memory. Literally the last 20 years of my life, I've just thought of how much hatred I have towards this movie. I have distinct memories of someone dying really awfully, and I have this memory of the battle that just didn't go well, and I've just hated it my whole life that I want to watch it again. So I want to see if I
tragic movie.
Yeah, I want to see if I hate it still.
Maybe as an adult you'll appreciate it more.
Maybe I'll hate it more, but it'll be more justified.
I'm in a similar boat because I've only seen pieces because my mom used to watch this movie over and over again, and I don't like it because it was just always on. But I never actually paid attention to it. So yeah, I'm a similar kind of thing. I'm interested to watch it, honestly.
Yep. So Braveheart. It is playing on Hulu. So Hulu, if you are watching, you should sponsor us.
I'm definitely gonna
watch it.
I'm gonna tag Hulu. Don't worry.
It's on. Oh, it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
That's it for today.
Thanks for watching.
Next week we'll have Braveheart commentary. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you enjoyed this,
say
every
bye,
week
everyone.
we'll have this.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.